from Jack Hancock, who should be on the line at this time.
I'll hear from.
Thank you, Judge. Jack Hancock, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
My name is Jack Hancock, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the social work supervisor for the Law Office of the Public Defenders. I have met with Alexis approximately 4 times and with her mother 1 time. And from what she has told me, this was a young woman who's had pretty persistent mental health issues starting at a young age. And they often went untreated. She expressed that she often felt blah. We would consider that being called anhedonia, or the lack of feeling. So she would often suppress how she felt and would isolate. Leading up to the pandemic and during the pandemic, her mental health worsened. She expressed a lot of depression. Her mother alluded to her being a sullen teen hiding in her room and kind of being unaware of what was really going on with Alexis also discussed how she was never able to express her emotions to others, that she would often shut down or kind of disassociate from what she is feeling and what she is thinking. She talked about how there was no meaningful relationship with her father and that she was often scared to go to her mother. This all could potentially contribute to the event that occurred. Positively, she has started to do therapy, and even from the initial interview that we did with her, we saw vast improvement. She initially presented kind of not really congruent with the situation, kind of unaware of the gravity of the situation, almost like a protective measurement. But she started to open up. She started to discuss what she was feeling. She highlighted all the successes that she was having despite kind of this adverse situation that was occurring. She has shown a lot of growth, even in the last month and a half. She's able to express how she feels and what she thinks. She has talked about the benefit of the medication she is taking, which includes medication for symptoms consistent with bipolar or major depression or poor sleep and nightmares. I feel she needs to continue to engage in treatment. She needs to continue to engage in schooling and be an active member of the community. 12 to 18 years is a long time. There'll be a lot of milestones missed, and the potential for her being sentenced longer than 12 years could be grave to her and to her family members. We know the trajectory of young adulthood. There needs things to be met. She needs to be an active member of the community, which she has been. She needs to, have employment. She needs to be able to take care of herself when she leaves whatever detention center she leaves. We also know the consequences of a young person being detained and how that can have deleterious effects on their mental health and their social well-being. As we've alluded to, she's done well. She's met all the requirements. She wants to do better and get better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we would also like the court to hear from Carmen Stone, Alexis therapist at the Guidance Center.
All right.
Carmen Stone, are you on the line?
If you're on the Google Meet, you may need to press *6 to unmute yourself.
Carmen Stone? Your Honor, if she's not available at this time, it seems, and if she does, she should have been logged in. She just confirmed that she was. So we will ask if the court will hear from Sean Hardison. He is a close friend of Alexis's family. He was a school resource officer at the high school where Alexis attended, and he should be on the line as well.
All right.
Sean Hardison, are you on the line? If you're you're on the phone, press *6.
If any of these people wanna call in to your cell phone and put them on speaker, we can do it that way.
I will reach out and see if we can get them on the phone. And while we do that, Your Honor, Alexis' parents, Domingo Avila and Martha Avila, are also here if they can speak on her behalf.
All right.
We'll call Domingo Avila first.
State your name for the record.
Domingo Avila.
Tell me what you want me to hear.
Your Honor, I don't think anyone in this courtroom knows Alexis better than her parents, myself, and her mom. The actions that Alexis took on January 7th will forever be with us. Be a day that's unforgettable. She is my baby girl, the youngest of 3. We come from a very oriented family. I truly believe that Alexis was not in the right state of mind when all this occurred. Your Honor, I can promise you that if me or her mom ever even had a clue that she was pregnant, we would never be in this situation. We have 6 other grandchildren that we love very much, and baby Saul is no exception. I also pray very much that one day we will get the chance to meet our grandson, baby Saul. Your Honor, I ask of you that you please have mercy on her soul. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to call Martha Avila next.
All right. State your name for the record, please.
Martha Avila. My name is Martha Avila and I'm Alexis's mom. My daughter. Alexis is the youngest of 3 children. Alexis is loved. She was raised in a loving home. The actions she took on that fateful day are unimaginable and will forever be with us. But that is not who she is. That is not how we raised her. Nor with this action she would have taken. This is not an action she would have taken if she would have been in her right state of mind, Your Honor. We love Alexis and we love our grandson dearly. We pray that one day we will be able to build, we pray that one day we will be able to build a connection and relationship with our grandson. I know that with the right medical care and safe environment, Alexis can be kind, will be kind and loving and caring spirit with will continue to flourish. With our support and medical care, Alexis graduated from Holmes High and began her college career, which, like her attorney has said, she did make the dean's list. Judge, please have mercy on Alexis and allow her the opportunity to continue to be a continuing contributing member in society, and most importantly, to one day be able to fulfill her motherhood role and be part of her baby's life. Moreover, I would like to express my gratitude to the 3 kind individuals who found my grandson. I will forever be grateful for their quick response and care towards my grandbaby. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may attempt to call Carmen Stone one more time, she confirmed that she is on the line.
All right.
Carmen Stone, if you're on the line, please unmute yourself. If you're on the phone, you'll need to press *6. Your Honor, she's calling me on my cell phone.
All right, you can put it on speaker.
Okay. Carmen Stone? Okay, we cannot hear you on the Google Meet, so I'll put you on speaker on my phone, okay? It's time for you to speak.
Go ahead and put her on speaker, please.
Oh,
Pardon?
okay. No, we cannot. She is out of the country. Your Honor, can I have just one moment? Seems like she may be on the wrong link. Just one moment. If I may be excused, I apologize for that. Thank you. Your Honor, while we're trying to get Carmen Stone situated, if the court will hear from Alexis at this time?
All right, if you'll come to the podium, please.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Judge, I just received a note from her brother, which she would like for us to read as well. Okay, if I may proceed to read that, Your Honor.
You may.
It says, "My name is Carlos, and I am Alexis's older brother." Just a moment. Okay, I apologize for that. "My name is Carlos, and I am Alexis's older brother. We were always close growing up until the day I moved out. We kind of drifted apart. I've always known her as a good, kind-hearted little girl who always ran to her big brother. She has been and always will be someone who has a special place in my heart. Despite what has happened, she is still my little sister, and I love her. I can't imagine the hurt and pain my parents are going through. I know she deeply regrets it. I wish she would have come to me. I know it would have been a different outcome, and I wouldn't be writing this letter. I hope one day this can all change and I can have my nephew I have yet to meet and my sister back. If there is any chance of a different outcome, I will be more than happy to help. She is deeply loved by her family, nephews, niece, and especially her brother and her baby." Your Honor, the court will hear from Alexis now.
All right. Come to the podium, please.
First, I am forever grateful for April, Michael, and Hector for being at the right place at the right time. I'm most grateful for all the EMS and hospital workers who did everything they could, which turned out great in the end. Sometimes I don't know how to feel. At times, I don't feel anything at all. But when I do, I feel the most. I feel with every ounce of my body. Sadness, anger, hurt, confusion. If I blacked out because of disassociation, I am terrified to do something and not know or remember, and to know I won't be getting the help for my mental health I truly need is scary. And and I'm afraid because disassociating is something I cannot control. I want to be able to learn how to fully learn to control my stress and anxiety so I'm able to deal with my emotions in a healthier way. I regret that I had to miss out on every first milestone the baby had and that I deprived him of motherly love. I regret that his first hours of life were traumatic, and I regret that he will always have this in the back of his head and will think I do not love him because that's what he'll read and hear, but that's not true at all. I do love him. I truly do. I regret that I deprived him of having a loving and caring family. Yes, he has his dad, and yes, he has his dad's family. But whenever my family and I love, we love hard, and we love with everything we have. To my family, family is everything to us. My nephews and my niece are everything to myself and to my parents. And so me doing this, it took away the opportunity for my parents and siblings to love and care for the baby up close, and not to be able to see him is heartbreaking. I know what I did was wrong, and the only person I truly need to apologize to is my baby. I still do not understand how I did that because that's not who I am. And it's not somebody that I look at and that I recognize. And I feel angry at myself because it never should have happened. But I am truly sorry.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if we may have just one moment, see if Carmen Stone is on the line now.
Yes, I am.
Carmen Stone, we are in front of Judge Shoebridge, and it is your time to speak on behalf of Alexis.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. My name is Carmen Stone. I'm a licensed clinical social worker with the Guidance Center of Lee County. I have been working with Alexis for about 1 year. I believe Alexis experiences dissociative symptoms in response to intense stress. Intense stress is a trigger for dissociation. Dissociation is a mental process by which a person disconnects from their feelings or thoughts or their memories. It is the mind's way of compartmentalizing emotion and trauma. It is possible that what Alexis refers to as blackouts, or when she says she does not remember, it is due to a form of dissociative amnesia. When people are in a dissociative episode, they can still do normal tasks, such as attend class, go to work, drive a car, but they are not aware they are doing these things and often cannot remember. Why this happens, and to the extent it happens, can be difficult to determine. Dissociative tendencies are not easy to diagnose, but almost always require long-term therapy. Alexis is about to enter into a highly stressful environment, which has me concerned for her mental health. Although there are no medications that specifically treat dissociation, medications can treat co-occurring conditions, such as depression and anxiety. Alexis does struggle with depression and anxiety as well as nightmares. I am concerned as to whether or not therapy or medication will be available to her in prison. I do not believe Alexis poses a threat. Prior to the incident, there is no documented history of physical or verbal aggression. She attended school and was active in the community. In our sessions, Alexis has expressed remorse for her actions. She has expressed shame and regret. She has cried. She has been frightened and confused by her actions and her inability to fully grasp and understand what happened and why. I believe that with therapy and the right resources, Alexis possesses the capacity to eventually understand and learn to manage her emotions and stress. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
Your Honor, those will be all the witnesses. However, would like to make 2 additional requests of this court. We'll ask that the court make no finding as to this being a serious violent offense. the actions of that day, based on testimony we've heard, based on evidence the court has seen, based on the witnesses, well, the individuals that have spoken today on behalf of Alexis, the court is able to make a finding that this was not a serious violent offense. We would also like to request of the court that within the language of the sentencing in this case, we'll ask if the court would include a provision that should the prison facility where Alexis will likely be incarcerated pose a danger to her life, that the prison would be able to transport her and relocate her to an out-of-state facility. We're asking for that to be included in the judgment and sentence today, so that if any such issues start to come up, the prison will be able to, the Department of Corrections will be able to take action without us having to come back and litigate the matter.
All right. Okay, if Ms. Avila and her attorney would come to the podium. What I'm going to do is I'm going to announce my sentence first. There'll be no outbursts from anyone in the courtroom, one way or the other. And then I'll give you, Ms. Avila, my thinking as to why I came down where I did. As to the crime of abuse of a child resulting in great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, I sentence you to 18 years followed by 2 years parole. I'm going to suspend 2 years. So you do 16 years in the Department of Corrections with credit for time served. You have 475 days pre-sentence confinement credit. While in the Department of Corrections, you will participate in complete course of cognitive behavior therapy, which will deal with some of your psychological problems. You'll complete a course on parenting skills, and you will participate in any vocational training or college classes during that period of time. I impose a mandatory $5 domestic violence treatment fee, $75 Crime Victims Reparation Act fee, $100 DNA fee. I do find that this is a serious violent offense, which means that your day's credit, the most you could get for good time would be 4 days per month. And I base that upon finding that this was a heinous crime. To toss one's own child into a dumpster like trash is something that it is an unforgivable event by any mother. Your child, I do agree, was very vulnerable, but for the grace of God and the happenstance of the 3 dumpster divers that found your child, we certainly would be here sentence you on a murder case as opposed to where you are. It's a miracle that in the cold weather of that night that your child survived. I do find that leaving the child in the dumpster and having hours to think about what you did indicates that it was a crime that you had an opportunity to correct after you thought about what you had done, but you did nothing. The resulting harm to your child, yes, I agree, there was a high probability of death, almost certain death. The impact that we heard throughout the trial about the problems with breathing, the problems with your child's organs, these are serious, serious things. And but for the wonders of modern medicine, your child would be dead. And that's not to mention the psychological effect that this has undoubtedly given a situation where your child's going to have to deal with it for the rest of his life. When thinking about your case, I think over and over again of the fact that there's no doubt that we'd be looking at a murder case, but for luck. So you're very fortunate that those dumpster divers came along. Because there's no question that but for them, your child, who was thrown alive in the middle of a cold afternoon, would be out at the Hobbs landfill dead. And you just cannot get away from that. The court can't black that out, neither can you. I do find that there are some mitigating factors, and that's why I knocked off 2 of the years. I do think your age is important. You had just turned 18. There's plenty of scientific studies that indicate a child 17, 18 years old, although you're legally an adult, that your mind is still not fully developed at that time. A lot of people do crazy things when they're a young person, but this went beyond the pale, but I do think your age is a significant thing. Secondly, the evidence was uncontradicted that you were suffering from bipolar disorder. That came from Dr. Cade in the testimony. It's in the reports that have been provided to me. Undiagnosed mental illness is probably a leading cause of people committing criminal acts. It was this court that sent you to the guidance center. It appears that counseling and the medication that you're on has been of some benefit to you, but I do find that someone who's dealing with mental illness is no different from someone dealing with physical illness, and you had it untreated at that time. And I do find that that was a mitigating factor. I also find that you had no prior record. Anyone that's been in my courtroom for the last 15 years knows that I always look at prior record. Is this someone that has been over and over again in front of a judge, given multiple opportunities? And I think it's of significance that you had no prior record. I also find that it was to your benefit that you complied with every aspect of conditions of release, which indicated to me that you're probably, as I believe, not a threat to other individuals at this time, and that you're willing to comply with those things asked of you. Finally, and this is probably the cruelest of all mitigating factors, and it's been mentioned in the presentation here this morning, and that is you've given yourself a life sentence. You've given yourself a life sentence of knowing what you did with your child. And you've also given your son that same life sentence. And that is probably something that is as hard to deal with as any length of time that you may have in prison. Also, as part of your sentence, you are to continue on the medications or whatever medications are prescribed by your doctors while in the Department of Corrections. The request that if there's some kind of security issue that comes up, I assume that the Department of Corrections would deal with that, but I don't know that there's a whole lot that I can do in that regard. But if there is any kind of threat to you, I would ask that you be appropriately moved. The section 31.18.15.1 gives the court discretion if there are mitigating factors, and that's what I used in reducing your sentence by the 2 years. The serious violent offense was under 33-234. You'll be remanded into the custody of, and to be transported to the Department of Corrections. Anything I missed from the state?
Your Honor, the crime victims reparation fee for felonies, I did not have that in my notes, but I may have missed it in the court's announcement of sentence.
I thought I said the $75 Crime Victims Reparation Act fee.
That was everything, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I am suspending the $15,000 fine. Anything I missed from the defense?
Your Honor, nothing the court missed. However, defense is asking if the court will grant appeal conditions of release on this matter.
It requires a motion and hearing, and that's not on the calendar today. And I would also, for purposes of today, looking at 15 years, the court would have to see some real compelling evidence that there was no possibility of flight. And the court will not, at this point in time, under the rule, which is, I believe, 4502, you've got to file a motion.
We'll file the motion, Your Honor.
It is my obligation to advise you, Ms. Avila, once again, that you have the right to appeal the decision of the jury, the evidentiary rulings of the court. And if you're unable to afford an attorney will be appointed for you at the expense of the state. If there's nothing further, court's in recess, she'll be remanded into custody.